Welcome to your Cochrane right now. This is a weekly podcast all about the best town in the entire world, Cochrane, Alberta. My name's Eric Ruddle, joined by Lauren Meister. And Lauren, someone won the lottery here in Cochrane. And we've heard about people winning like $100,000, which is incredible, right?
Huge.
Like that's a ton of money. $13 million won from Shoppers.
I need to start shopping at Shoppers a little bit more often.
So, his name's Aset. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not even going to try. But he actually was a bus driver for Southland and a nice older gentleman. And he bought a ticket in early August. $13 million richer.
Incredible. So I'm guessing he's probably not driving a bus anymore. Really? I'm going to guess that he's probably living the dream, living the retired life. And apparently he's a wildlife photographer.
Very
so
cool.
He's probably buying some pretty fancy wildlife
Camera
photography equipment.
things,
And
yeah.
I mean, obviously we have some really nice scenery and whatnot around Cochrane. But the thing that struck me the most about hearing from him right after he won was the first thing he did was he told his wife,
of course,
obviously, that he
won the lottery,
right?
honey.
As you would, right? You're going to tell your partner. But he didn't tell her how much. He just said, I won a lot of money.
So imagine your husband's like, honey, we won the lottery. Oh my goodness. And you say, how much? And he's like, it's a lot. Don't worry about it. There is a difference between winning a $2 ticket and $13 million. He didn't tell her for a month.
Well, I wouldn't accept that as an answer.
Well, yeah, right? Like, I don't know how she did.
I don't know either. Maybe that's she's a very accepting person and she's just like, okay, I trust that it's a lot of money. Yeah. Or maybe she's just like, oh, maybe it's like $500 or $1,000 and just kind of sloughed it off like, oh, that was like a good win, right?
Yeah.
Didn't actually think it was $13 million.
Yeah, and half of that is hers, right? Like, that's how it works. But it was funny because we got the press release. You write the story, and so your Lauren Meister's on it. Yesterday afternoon, you were actually getting requests to your personal account for Asat's contact information.
Oh, yeah. People were asking how they could get a hold of him. Like, what's his phone number?
Like, I am his long-lost, third-removed nephew.
Right? It's like, first of all, why are you messaging me?
Yeah.
And second of all, do you really think I would actually give you that information? Like, oh, yeah, here's his phone number. Here's his address.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, as soon as you announce you have $13 million, like, I love to be a fly on the wall with the amount of phone calls he got yesterday. Oh, hey, man.
Yeah.
Cool. You drove my kid on Southland once. Like, I have the business opportunity for you.
Right?
But it's really cool. He did mention in a comment here or there that he plans on helping families here in Cochrane. He said he's in his 60s. He doesn't need that much money, so he wants to give back.
Absolutely. So that's really incredible. I had a quick little chat with him on Messenger, so kind of waiting to hear back from him on that. But so to get more details about that, but looking forward to hearing more about how exactly he's planning to help people because, man, $13 million, that's definitely a lot to go around.
And which pitch did you use? Hey, uncle!
Yeah,
hey,
exactly. Remember that one time we met?
Yeah,
do you remember?
Oh, hey. Yeah. Now, good on him and $13 million. One question I had, though, was, I don't know if this is an urban legend, but apparently if you sell the winning lottery ticket, don't you get money? Like, have you ever heard that before?
Oh, no.
Candace and I were talking about it.
Really?
How, like, gas station attendants and stuff usually get a couple of dollars because they sold the winning lottery ticket. So we reached out to Shoppers. They haven't gone back to us, but I'm wondering if there's somebody who won a couple of dollars. I don't know how much it is, but that'd be pretty cool.
I have no idea. I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah,
No, we should look into it.
We should.
Yep. And then the other big announcement, Light Up is coming back in a full in-person event. Because, of course, we've had Light Up the last couple of years for the pandemic, but it was a month, come whenever you want, affair with a light show and music. It was really awesome, but it wasn't 10,000 people in downtown Cochrane.
Yeah, well, it's been more of a virtual event, really, the last couple of years. So super excited to have the return of Cochrane Light Up, because honestly, this is one of the biggest events.
I would say so, especially for... We had somebody who's not from Cochrane in the studio today, and we were explaining it to them, and they're like, why do people come? And we're like, Mostly just to come, just to be with each other to launch the Christmas season.
Well, that is exactly it. It's always at the end of November. So it's going to be November 26th this year. And it really is that kickoff to Christmas, like it just gets you into that Christmas mood, that Christmas spirit.
And of course, one of the big things that usually go with Light Up is the free hot dogs and the free hot chocolate. That won't be part of it, at least from the Light Up organization side of things. They said they just don't have the volunteers. It takes about 70 people to run all 12,000 hot dogs, which is understandable.
That's a lot of hot dogs.
And also, they're not stopping businesses from doing it. So actually, I've talked to a couple of businesses in town who are like, you know what? We are going to bring hot dogs. And I'm like, you better know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, like, do you know how many you have to bring?
2019, did you go to that Light Up?
Yep. We were both there.
It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Like at least 10,000 people in Cochrane.
Oh, yeah. No, incredible amounts of people. It's going to be interesting to see if some of the businesses actually come in and bring the hot chocolate and the hot dogs, especially the hot chocolate. I feel like that is such a staple. I know you've talked a lot about the hot dogs, especially as a teenager. Like that was such a big thing.
Yeah, as a teenager with your friends from high school, you walk around and you see how many hot dogs you can eat in one night. It's an awful idea.
Yeah.
But.
So for me, I'm not a big hot dog eater anyway. Whoa. Yeah. So for me, I mean, the hot dogs, I think that's cool. That's great. But for me, the hot chocolate, just because it's colder, right? We're end of November, right? So I feel like I sure hope that comes back. I hope that businesses bring that. And I feel like that's probably, that's more of a reality. But man, just all the lights and just all the activities. There's usually like horse-drawn carriages and all sorts of things there.
And they haven't announced what cycle they're in. Sometimes we have the CP holiday train here as well. Right. So I looked online. They're like, oh, the announcement's coming soon. I don't know if it's in the Airdrie cycle or the Cochrane cycle.
Right. It's always every off year. Yeah.
But that would be really cool. And man, is it just so exciting. And if you are a big fan of that light and music show, they're bringing that back as well. So they had $30,000 worth of lights last year. They said they got even more money from Home Treasures this year, and they plan on going bigger, more focused, and a possible big surprise that they are just waiting for approval.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to the surprise. It's cool, too, that's not just that night then, too. So if you miss Light Up, which you should not miss Light Up, but at least it's going to be lit up throughout the whole downtown, so you can enjoy the light show throughout the whole Christmas season.
I've always felt for the businesses downtown, though, because I think that Light Up show goes every 15 minutes? Every half an hour?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's on a cycle.
It's loud. Like, Poor David's and all those, like, day 20 of that music show, are they like, oh, gosh.
But I feel like, isn't that kind of how everybody feels by like day 20 of like Christmas music and Christmas everything?
It's
really?
the last day of summer. We should just transition straight into Christmas music.
Yeah, get rid of fall, just right to Christmas.
Right into it. But it's going to be a really big year, I think, especially taking a couple of years off. And you got to imagine Light Up is just going to be monstrous.
Yeah.
November 26th.
Yeah.
This year.
It's going to be so good.
And this past weekend, it was the last weekend of summer and just a perfect bookmark on it because this summer was known for having so many events, especially as a radio station, as media. We tried to go to as much as possible. And this summer was tough, just to be honest with you.
We only have so many people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this weekend, of course, Friday, our big party, Cochrane's Best Neighborhood Showdown. Fireside won in, I'm not even going to say a landslide. They won in less than 1,000 votes. We got over 100,000 votes overall.
Incredible.
And on Friday, we had everyone down to BGC of Cochrane and area. We gave out over $1,000 in prizing. We had bouncy castles. And that party was actually planned by you and I, Lauren. And it didn't fail.
Yeah, so leading up to the event, there's always some nerves.
Just a little bit.
Both, I feel like we're pretty calm, but I feel like I was fairly calm. But then whenever you seem like you're a little bit nervous, that's when I get a little bit nervous. So because we never really know how many people are going to come or if anybody's going to come.
No, exactly.
Because it's not like people are RSVPing for this event. We don't really know. And then, you know, if you're planning a party and nobody comes, right, that would be a huge disaster. Yep. So
people came.
People came, like over 400 people. And it was definitely a success. We're getting really, really good feedback. back. Everything worked out. There was no disasters.
No.
So that was good. But honestly, what always baffles my mind, because we've done this 2 years now, is just where the votes come in from all over the world. It's crazy. Like Egypt and Jamaica and the UK and just
I think
everywhere.
like what? We had over 20 countries by the end
at
of
least.
it. And I love Cochrane. I love our neighborhoods. But why is people in Belize voting for us? I don't know.
They must love Cochrane.
Maybe they lived here at one point. Maybe their family lives here and they're like, I need you to vote.
Well, and that's what I would guess.
Yeah.
I would guess there's some kind of family connection. And if not, then they just love Cochrane.
They just love Cochrane and they love Fireside, and they really wanted them to win. So that was really fun. And of course, we're hoping to do it even bigger next year. And then BGC was having their 30th anniversary here in Cochrane. And it was so incredible just to talk. Anyone who'd been a part of BGC had buttons on, like alumni buttons. So you could talk to them. And they all had stories of 30 years.
That's crazy.
Here in town.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of performances. They had a big movie in the park there. And it was just mind-blowing that organizations are now hitting these major milestones in our little town.
That's a long time to be around. And I actually went out with some friends on the weekend whose kids currently go to BGC, and they both had been there throughout the day. It was a drop and go kind of thing throughout the day. And they're just astonished all the time with how incredible things are there. And they had a great time. And I saw all the photos that you posted, and a ton of fun.
My wife worked at BGC when she first moved here about 13 years ago. And now we see 18-year-olds that are like, oh, hi, Stacy. And she's like, oh, no, I feel old. Because, they were little 6 or 7-year-olds, and now they're 18. And it's like, oh my gosh, these kids are growing up.
Well, that's kind of how I felt when I heard that they were playing Beethoven, because Beethoven is 30
years
old.
old.
And I think I went to that in the theater.
Yeah. And they had the DJ there playing 90s hits. And it's like, oh, I love this Avril Lavigne song. And you're like, oh, wait. 30 years ago.
Oh, there's no way she was around 30 years ago, though.
I don't know.
That cannot be accurate.
She probably came out in like 97.
Like the late 90s.
Late 90s. It's only 2022. What, 25 years ago?
Yeah, but that's not 30.
And then I think Culture Fest was the next day. So if you drove past the Lions Event Center, you would have seen a huge teepee out in front. And inside, it was so cool because it was just table after table of all the different cultures here in town. And a lot of them had food, and a lot of them had little activities for the kids. Like Japan was right there, and they taught my kids origami. But
That's
then
so cool.
we got to Venezuela. And I have my kids with me, 5 and 7 years old. And she leans down to my daughter and she's like, do you like guinea pigs? And my daughter's like, I love guinea pigs. And she's like, did you know we eat them in Venezuela? Fun fact, but like my poor daughter was like, what? A lot of her friends. And they actually explained they have like their own 4-H, but instead of cows, they raise guinea pigs. So they fatten them up, and then they eat them. Explain
so
it all
did
to
it
my 7-year-old.
traumatize your daughter for life, do you think?
Maybe. Well, we'll see. We haven't seen a guinea pig since, so maybe I don't know how much it registered, but it's really cool.
She hasn't asked for a pet guinea pig?
No, we have gerbils.
Okay.
They're like tiny guinea pigs, right?
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have much meat on them, so why eat?
Not until you fatten them up.
Exactly. But it was really cool, and it was so awesome seeing so many dancers. They had programs there, and man, was it packed. So it was just so
cool.
awesome seeing just snippets of all the different cultures and communities here in town. And I know the previous weekend was Culture Days, right? So it just shows how much of Cochrane is a mixing pot of amazing people.
So many different cultures. Yeah, it's our own little folk fest here in Cochrane.
Yeah,
so that's
it's
pretty
really cool.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to sum up summer in Cochrane, it's the last day of summer when we're recording this, September 21st. How would you sum up this year in Cochrane, the summer, in 5 words or less?
5 words or less.
Yeah.
Very busy, windy, And cool.
And cool. I like it. I wouldn't say it would be cold. I thought it was one of the hottest summers.
Really?
No?
Well, I think it's because every time I went to the lake, it was windy and cool. But when I was at work, it was hot.
It was hot. Looking out the window. Oh, I wish I was out there.
I know. Yeah. What about you?
Let's go with everything returned. Lots of sun. Look at that. 5 words, baby.
Everything returned.
Everything
Nice.
returned because, people planned events during the last couple of years, thought they could go, they didn't, and then they brought them back this year. And I don't know how this fall's going to look for events. Is it going to be slower? Is it going to be mad? Like even this weekend, Oktoberfest is going on. I think there's another thing. Like, are we just going to go strong all the way to Christmas?
I don't think so. Well, now we're getting into like nonstop like hockey tournaments and swim tournaments and just like things all of the time happening at Spray Lakes and like Frank Wills and the Lions Event Center. Like there's always a million things happening here in town. Don't know where people are going to stay if they're coming to Cochrane because we're kind of short on a hotel or two.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I do wonder about that. But I think we're just getting into that season where there's just so many things happening again.
Well, that's everything going on in town right now. You can grab this podcast on all your favorite podcast services, watch it on YouTube, that whole thing. And again, we will talk again next week.
Yes.